Hello. For this video, I'm going to show this personal project I created called Video Game Analysis. Um, I created it using Power BI, and let me show how I first started with it. So, this is the raw data. It's an Excel spreadsheet. There's two tabs. So the first focus is on the best-selling consoles, the top 30, and it has console, shortened name of it, what the type it is, manufacturer of it, year of release, total units sold, generation, and how many games they released on it. And then there's this list of the best-selling video games, the top 50, title, copy sold, what series the game's part of, what platforms it's on, the year of its release, the developer and publisher, what genres, gameplay, players, multiplayer type, multiplayer mode, and exclusive. So all of this information, I get the sources from this Wikipedia page here for consoles, this one from video game, and so it's all from Wikipedia except for these gameplay, multiplayer type, multiplayer mode, and exclusive columns that I just researched and came up with it on my own. So this is raw data. So let's go back to the actual project. So this is after I imported it. So let's look at the best-selling consoles table. Just a direct import, and same with here, but here you see we have this extra column, platform all, and the shorthand. If we look here, I have a one-to-many relationship I created between the two tables, and it's just the console is tied to the platform all. That's how I create that column. That way I could it's like the platform from the raw data, but I listed them all out. That way I could have multiple selections, multiple consoles for it, not just one, like this Wii one or this Nintendo DS. Anyway, so there's a lot of visuals and a couple pages. So there's just an overview page for the report. So here in this corner we have video game copies sold on exclusive consoles. So we see in this, I think it's called a flowchart or a funnel, that the Wii has sold the most exclusive games, and the Sega Genesis the lowest in these particular consoles. And all these visuals interact with each other, so if I go down here, it's going to affect these other visuals, but I'll just leave everything as the total as everything without selecting. If we go down here, this is a table or a matrix that lists all the video games, the copies sold, all that information in the raw data. And then you can select one and it'll affect everything else. Here we have a donut chart which shows the video games and the platform by genre and gameplay. So these yellow ones are, let's look at is number of video games per that genre and gameplay. So if you look at the colors, let's try to find this platform. So there's 6 platform video games. 6 platform video games on, and then it's on the Nintendo DS. And here's the 6 games. There's Super Mario Bros, mostly in Sonic, and let me see, it's on the SNES, the Game Boy Advance, NES, Arcade, and the Wii, Nintendo DS. Okay, so that's that. Here is just slicer where you could select the console. Let's do. Right now it's on all of them, but if we want to focus on like Xbox, or let's do. Sorry, I paused the video. I had to do something. I forgot what I was doing. So, if let's do Nintendo 3DS. You see here, it only has role playing game. So that's doing that. But let's go back to that's a slicer. This one is just a card, and it's filtered on all the consoles. So it just shows the sales for all of them. That's gonna stay the same no matter what. See, even if we're filtering it down. This is a card that shows video game copies sold. So in total, it's 2 billion. But it's like for Nintendo DS, it's 103 million, which shows here. This this is a bar chart, stacked one, and it shows the number of video games by players and based on its video game series. So single player and multiplayer, single player only, multiplayer only. So like question we could see, or something we could tell by this is that this Duck Hunt is not part of a series, it's in it, but it has a lot of has this an sorry, I made this a while ago, so I'm trying to remember oh, there's 5 video game titles here. Pokemon had, it's a very ongoing series that has 5 video game titles, looks like, and single player and multiplayer. So that's just an overview. It's kind of mixed of consoles and video games data. This next page is focusing on consoles. So there's this bar chart so we see PS2 sold the most consoles. It's manufactured by Sony. It's like 155 million consoles, and Dreamcast didn't really do that well. 9.13 million. So, you can have the interaction with everything. But let's go back to not here. We have a tree chart or a tree map, and I just put the 6 biggest manufacturers. So Nintendo has all these consoles. You could filter down by Sega, Microsoft, NEC, Atari. This I'll talk about at the end of this page. So there's console type comparison by manufacturer. So here's the console sold, and then the types. So home, consoles, handheld, like portable, and then hybrid, which is the Switch. And we could see that PlayStation 1 sold a lot for home, and then like one of the best selling console for handheld is the Game & Watch device, and PSP and Sega Game Gear. This next one is scattered line and stacked column chart, and so it shows the consoles sold is the y-axis, and then the number of games by manufacturer is the bars, and then the x-axis is the release year. So it's by the top manufacturers. So we see Sega or Sony releases PS1 here. That had a lot of sales. And the game library is 3061. And then here, the PS2. And so this, the dashes show the year of release, and then the games library. So, like a question we could have is, do consoles, games libraries as time go on get bigger? And we could see like Sony, it actually decreases their games library. And you have the sudden drop with their release of. It's hard. It's so small. It's hard to. With the release of the PS5, because it's the newest. It's the current gen console, so the games library is really small at the moment. It hasn't grown yet. But you see Nintendo, it kind of has an opposite where it grows a bit, goes down, grows, and then it has a sudden growth with Nintendo Switch compared to Nintendo Switch's game library compared to the Wii U, which makes sense because the Wii U didn't really do that well. You could tell its sales is really low and the Switch is really high, and it was Nintendo working on building a hybrid console, and after the Wii, which was a very, very successful product, but it didn't sell. The Wii U didn't sell that well because people didn't really like it. The features weren't great, but Nintendo Switch changed that. And so anyway, now I'll talk about the generation here. So this is a custom visual where it goes by the console generations. So right now we're just showing all of the generations together, but if we wanted to let it go, it's going to start at the first generation of consoles, and I think there's now it's on the second generation, and it just changed. So we see third generation's NES and Master System. Fourth is Game Boy Color, SNES, Sega Genesis, and PS1, Nintendo 64, Saturn. So that's cool that it just shows all the data by generation and it impacts everything. You could pause it at one if you wanted to just stay there and view details about it. You could, go back a generation or forward, and then you could stop it where it goes back to the total, all the generations together. So this is the overall consoles page. Now we're going to do the best-selling video game series. So the rest of these pages are all about the video games, and I didn't want to do overall video games. I just put them on separate pages so then we could have full charts displaying them to do a good comparison among the video games. So this is a breakdown of the video game series. So we see Minecraft sold a lot. It's the most successful video game series, and GTA, Super Mario Bros. Wii, so that's like Wii Fit, Wii Fit Plus, Wii Play, Wii Sports, and Wii Sports Resort. And we could see Wii Sports is a large part of that, and that's because Wii Sports came with Wii, so it doesn't really count. They didn't really have sales of it. It's more like they're just selling the Wii console, and Wii Sports came with it. But there's Pokemon, a very big series. So what we could tell here is Nintendo's doing very well in their video game series because they have Super Mario, Wii, and Pokemon, which is in the top 5 best. Then these are actually just not series, but these individual titles: Duck Hunt, Human Fall Flat, Kinect Adventures, which came with the Kinect one. So it's kind of like the Wii Sports, but for Microsoft, for Xbox. Nintendogs and Terraria, Tetris, very old game, so it's not. I wouldn't really consider it much of a series. It's kind of like EA here, Electronic Arts made a newer version of it, and it sold really well, 100 million. And I guess the original Tetris was 1989. There might have been one earlier for just on arcade machines. Call of Duty series, and then back to Nintendo. So that's just a comparison of all of them. And now we're going to do the top 50 video games by exclusivity. So we could see like the top 3 games are not exclusives, and that makes sense because if you're gonna sell a lot of copies, then you want to be on as many platforms as possible. But you have this one here, like Wii for Wii Sports, Super Mario Bros. So Nintendo's known for having exclusive games and IPs, like so that's mainly the ones that are exclusive. But you can see if you really want to have the most sales, you should not be exclusive. Now we're doing the top 50 best-selling video games by multiplayer type. So there's this one, which is all types. So it's kind of the same deal as it's saying here. You don't want to be exclusive to sell as many, and here you want to have as many multiplayer types to ensure as much sales as you can. So Minecraft is all types of multiplayer of local area, network, online, and split screen. And then GTA 5 is online only type of multiplayer. So it kind of breaks the mold of all types, but here's all of them. And then last is multiplayer mode and this I just created myself with competitive or cooperative, these definitions of these categories. But I said Minecraft is cooperative and GTA is both, because when you do GTA Online, there's, you can interact with everyone in the game world, and so that's like cooperative because you could do missions together like heists. But then it's also competitive because they have the game modes like team deathmatch and things like that. So I said it was both of them. And so that's everything. And I'm trying to see if there's anything special, but it's kind of just cool to see, like, okay, The Witcher 3 is a role-playing game, it's open world, and it's on these platforms. So that's video game analysis. Oh wait, I forgot to show like the finished product. So it's the same thing, I just published it to Power BI.